welcome to Goa News. Now, today we have the flag officer of Goa Naval Area. Uh, so we will be asking him certain questions that is relation between Navy and the civilian population. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Sir, as of naval personnel, how you look at the populace around the naval area? Like, how is the coordination between Navy and the local populace?
I would say I found it to be exceptional, and I can say it with total honesty because I had never lived in Goa, I never served in Goa before I took over as Flag Officer Naval Aviation. Because I'm a helicopter pilot. My helicopter, which is Seeking, is based in Cochin and Bombay. So this was my first experience. So I can tell you frankly that having never worked here before, I experienced it firsthand at a senior level of heading the Navy here, and I found it to be extremely good. And to prove the fact, after 4 years, I'm retiring shortly from the Navy, and I decided to settle in Goa. So there could be no better explanation or confirming the point that I really love this state and the people of Goa. I find the people to be really friendly, cooperative, and nice, non-interfering, and extremely cooperative to all our initiatives which we've taken. And over these 4 years, it's very satisfying that we were able to reach out and help the populace whenever the time came, like be it floods. But the thing is that climate change is a reality worldwide. So whether we like it or not, there will be instances of flooding and other natural disasters. And the seas tend to be rough during the monsoon. And there are many occasions when fishing boats have gone missing. And my entire team, we take it upon ourselves to. The point is in the military. There's no substitute to successful completion of a mission, so we never give up. So there are times when we've flown more than 40 hours to look for a single boat. So whether it's saving fishermen or the multiple times when our divers go for rescuing people who are drowning, and towards that I think we should educate the tourists who come here who are not too familiar with the beaches over here. There's a lot of great work being done by the Drishti Association and all that, but I think we need to keep educating the public who come when they come to Goa about the risks of swimming in the sea. So there are a lot of rescues we've done, and flood relief we've reacted at really short notice, and we have a whole lot of assets here. We have helicopters and aircraft over here which respond at very short notice, and we have a quick reaction team comprising more than 100 personnel who are ready to respond to any calamity. So that's been very satisfying that every time someone has reached out, we've been able to make a difference. And during COVID, we had carried out an inoculation drive where more than 60,000 of the local citizens were inoculated at our center, which was at the Rajhans Theatre right next to the airport. So that was highly successful, and everyone, we got a really good feedback. It was very hygienically done and very efficiently done, and lots of the populace around Vasco and Dabulam preferred to come to our center. That was very nice. And also, with the onset of the COVID, we were able to contribute in a small way by setting up kitchens for the migrant laborers at Sada and the Vasco railway station and a couple of other locations, as well as distributing food supplies which were voluntarily given by my team of more than 2,000 people, officers, sailors and civilian staff, and we worked together to bring solace to the local populace. So I'm sure these bonds will continue to grow and get stronger and stronger, and I would really look forward to seeing it from the sidelines once I retire and settle down in this beautiful state. And another thing I'll like to mention is my organization, that's how Headquarters Naval Aviation, is located in Goa. So Goa is something like a mecca of naval aviation.
Yeah.
We have more than 80 aircraft here, all the best aircraft we have. We have all the MiGs of the Navy up here, and recently we've based 4 P-8 Boeing aircraft, state-of-the-art Boeing aircraft, which is the best maritime reconnaissance aircraft in the world. So we have a squadron which you are aware was commissioned on 29th of March. So that will again give a huge capability to the base over here. And we have the brand new ALS Mark III, Indian-built helicopter, which a squadron was commissioned about 6 months back. So there's lots of initiatives to strengthen the base over here. And with Mopa Airport coming up, I understand out of the 88 flights, probably half will go north and half will be here. So there's a lot of cooperation between the civil aviation industry and us. And ours being one of the few dual-use airports, there's a lot of synergy between the commercial side and us, and we've been able to ensure safe and efficient flying operations over here. A lot of plans to expand the commercial side, and I look forward to that. And, so all in all, it's been a really good experience, and I hope that we continue to strengthen these ties with the local populace. And one point I'd like to say is that I'm extremely disappointed that there are not too many Goans joining the Navy. And like I mentioned in the introductory speech which I had given, I feel we should work together to encourage our youth to join the services. But I think it's due to lack of knowledge that I would like to reach out. And many of my officers have been giving lectures in colleges. I want to increase that interaction so that our youngsters get an exposure to the fantastic life which the Navy offers, the exposure to cutting edge technology, the chance to travel the world. I mean, I'm like in 36 years, I've been to 45 countries. So the opportunities you get are unparalleled in a life of adventure and most of all, a chance to serve your country. And so there's, I think it's a fantastic profession to join. And there are various other, like one is the permanent commission, like someone like me spends so much time in the Navy. But someone who's unsure, you can go in for the short service commission. So there are a lot of our officers who serve for just 10 years. And then after that, some of them get an opportunity to convert to permanent commission and stay on. Some decide to leave, and then they pursue very good careers outside, having the stamp of being a defense officer, and they do really well outside. So that option also can be pursued for those who are unsure whether they want to sign on the dotted line for 20 years. So I think there are a lot of possibilities, and I sincerely hope that more Goans join the Navy or any of the three services. But I'm partial to the Navy because I think I've had a really great life in the Navy.
Sir, one thing which we had seen in the recent past, that since the time you are here, that Navy has become quite a more accommodative when we talk about the Goa airport. There was a time when 60 odd flights was too many. Now sometime 102 also it crosses. So is it not hampering the naval operations?
No, the good question. I would say that it's in the old days also. I mean, everyone is super efficient. The operations were very good. The increase is mainly due to the parallel taxi track. So actually, the parallel taxi track permits the aircraft to clear the runway the moment the aircraft lands, as also the departures. Like otherwise, what used to happen is an aircraft used to enter the runway from the civil disposal. It took 6 minutes to backtrack and take off. So we've straight away knocked off the 6 minutes, and when you join that parallel taxi track to the takeoff point, 3 aircraft are lined up, and one behind the other off the runway, and then they join the runway and take off in quick succession. And when you recover an aircraft, it goes off the runway really quickly and goes onto the parallel taxi tracks. That's why the numbers have gone up. It's not that we've suddenly become really efficient or something. It's maybe the ATC has always been really efficient. There's a lot of very good cooperation with the commercial side, like I mentioned. So many times it's the other limitation is the handling, the ground handling, because what happens is they are again very efficient. I checked the other day, efficient airlines like the Indigo, they take just 45 minutes to turn around an aircraft, which includes the fueling, taking out the luggage, loading the luggage for the next flight. So in 45 minutes they turn around an aircraft. So with super efficient airlines like them, and I'm very proud to mention that 90% of the pilots in Indigo are ex-defense guys. So that also, I think, adds a lot of to their absolute efficient and disciplined culture. So it does in the military flying. There is a slot in the morning from 8 to 12. There's 4 hours and 2 hours in the evening. So that is as important as the commercial flying. So we are able to work together, and once in a way there are requests for some recoveries of some special aircraft and all. Then we always try to accommodate those requests. One point is like many times the allegation in the paper, like people say that we're not permitting aircraft to land in that slot. The problem is the fighters like the MiG are very susceptible to foreign object debris damage. So what happens is when a big aircraft takes off, all the gravel and pebbles, debris are churned up and they come on the runway. So after that you do something called FOD parade. There's a vehicle which goes and has to clear off these pebbles. If a pebble gets ingested into the engine, you lose that engine, and besides the danger, it costs like 10 crores to send it to Russia and repair it. So these are expensive assets and they belong to you as much as they belong to me. It belongs to the country. So we need to treat these assets with kid gloves and get the most we can out of them. So far we've been managing well. There are certain slots which are very congested. Like if you see the time frame between 12 and 2, because one of the reasons being it's the check-in and check-out time of the hotels. So that's the time when maximum flights. You have something like 20 flights. So it's super busy for us to operate as well as for the public. If you try to check in at that time, it's next to impossible. You've got to go very early. So maybe if there's it's just a suggestion. It's not my area of specialization. I'm overstepping, but I would say if there is some sort of a diktat that all hotels have 24-hour check-in or check-out or something, probably will decongest. Because there are certain areas where there are no flights, like at night and all that. So if airlines offer like cheaper tickets and operate them at night, then there won't be so much of a logjam. Because frankly, between 12 and 2, it's a nightmare. If you ever take a flight at that time, it's impossible to go through security and all that. So if we decongest that, and I think Mopa will be a good step, because the way this is, the Goa is growing as a tourist destination, and again, it's not my subject, but what common sense one sees that it's become the go-to destination, and the culture which, like say when I was growing up, a holiday was a big deal. Like once a year you went on a holiday. Here what happens is youngsters have spending power, they do so well. So it's very common to suddenly decide on Friday, hey, let's go to Goa, and they fly across and come back.
Actually,
so that's domestic tourism has gone up to a large extent, especially now with COVID and the international travel is stopped for a long time. So I think we need to encourage the domestic tourism and make this make Goa tourist friendly and offer nice. There's so many beautiful sights to see over here. It's a mix. It's not just beaches. There's cuisine. There's so many things. There's churches, temples, and lots of beautiful locales to visit, waterfalls and the works. I would say it's paradise. One of the best places in India, I would say in the world. I'm absolutely convinced about that. That's the reason I've decided to settle here. It's really nice. And exactly, especially for a adventure junkie like me, I love biking, I like cycling, like swimming, diving, and all these pursuits are perfect in Goa. So it's great.
One thing was there, just you said that Navy has been accommodative throughout, but one issue of Navy has never been heard by the local government, that is bird hit issues that is related to garbage. Whether that issue still exists or it has come down, or what is the status now?
Very good point ahead there. The bird instances have reduced to some extent, and you may be aware that we lost a MiG once when a flock of birds, it flew into the flock of birds. But from our side also, we're continuously in touch with the local authorities, and we are one-on-one with all the MLAs who are extremely helpful. And like Mr. Mohammad Godino, Daji Salkar, who's just taken over, Carlos Almeida, we are in touch with all of them. Mrs. Saldana, Alina Saldana, they're extremely helpful, and we've been able to address the problem to a large extent, but we would deeply appreciate the help of the local citizens to ensure that there's no dumping of garbage in open spaces and all the way, causing more and more bird activity. So now that you're asking about there's another issue which is a bit of a sensitive issue as far as buildings are concerned.
I was supposed to ask.
I would very much like to explain about this. So there are certain restrictions of any airport. It's not only Goa airport. Like now, for example, the clearances are from the Navy because we are operating this airport. Tomorrow when MOPA starts operating, it will be the Airport Authority of India or GMR which would have to give those clearances. So there's a funnel zone, and then there are restrictions so basic common sense, as you move away from the funnel, the height permitted is more. So it's purely mathematics, and geography. So from that distance, a particular height is allowed. You can't build higher than that height. So be it a hospital or a cyclone shelter or whatever, because sometimes there are allegations, or even a cyclone shelter was not permitted to be built. Now the aircraft does not know whether it's a hospital or a cyclone shelter. It's a obstruction. So why you have a funnel is if in case of bad weather, if the pilot drifts away to one side and he's lower than the height which he should be, he'll go and collide with that thing. So it's purely a safety issue, and so we don't have any leeway. So I can't suddenly decide that we need to clear a particular building. It's purely, and there's something called a color-coded zonal map, which immediately, like, you click on the point and it'll tell you what height is permitted. So that's one thing which I'd like to stress, that whatever is possible, we like to ensure that those clearances are given faster. And there's one other complaint is there's an inordinate delay for these approvals to come, because previously what used to happen, it used to go from my office to my headquarters, which is in Bombay, and thereafter to Delhi. Now what happens is, because of the request from local authorities, including the Chief Minister, who's extremely cooperative, we had so many meetings with him. So by his insistence, what's happened is now the authority has been given to Bombay. So it doesn't go to 2 levels, it goes to 1 level. So that has reduced the time frame to a large extent. So I hope it continues to get more and more efficient, and we can ensure that we live in harmony and there's no misunderstanding with the thing.
Sir, one last question is your idea behind making this museum, new avatar of this museum. What was the main idea? Whether it was to attract the local populace towards this, so that they can come and look at the facility and the amenities and the kind of job which you people are doing, and that's why they join. What is the idea, mean?
No. The idea is actually, what happens is, anyone who is involved, anyone who wears wings or is involved with aviation, it's not only the pilots or the naval air operations officers or the technical officers or the Met officers, everyone who's concerned with them. Here what happens is, what drives us, the passion for anything which flies. So I saw this as an opportunity to develop on what our founding fathers, the legends of aviation, like Admiral Tahilyani, Admiral Raju, Admiral Bharatan, and all of them, it's with their vision that this place was built. So I felt it's only right that the next generation picks up the baton and takes it further. So I found that there was a gap. So this was commissioned in 1998. So there's a 22-year period where, in the last 10 years especially, there's been a huge development as far as aviation is concerned. We had the Boeings come in, 8 Boeings, 8 plus 4, 12 Boeings, 45 MiGs, 17 Hawks, 12 Dorniers, 16 advanced light helicopters, 12 microlights. I can go on and on. Then there's come out 28, 10 of them which are being refurbished and upgraded. So a huge number of aircraft had come in. A lot of air bases had been commissioned, and they didn't have any mention in this because it was commissioned in 98. Also, if you look at the technologies which are available now versus 98, you can get at a very cheap cost. You're able to really transform a place. And another point is, thanks to the Navy, I got a chance to visit all the worthwhile museums in the world, including the Smithsonian. Or there's one Fleet Air Arm Museum in Yeovilton in UK. I've been to Russia one, France, the works. I've seen all of them. So all of them, the common feature was that you need to provide something for the public. So we've got a world-class cafeteria, we've got a souvenir store. Because here what happens is, we don't get any funds, so it's self-sustaining. So I need to have enough funds to run this, to pay for the people who are involved in that, pay for the upkeep. So that was one thing. And also, of course, to attract not only the locals, the tourists also. And our efforts have paid off. Like I told you, getting a TripAdvisor Traveler's Choice Award, or the fact that there are 1 lakh footfalls. It's real, and it's further jumped with the new format which we have. Only thing is, we're able to organize it in a way that you are slowly introduced to what the Navy is and what flight is all about. So now I interact with a lot of youngsters, even engineering students and all that, which I asked one random guy, do you know Navy has planes? They were not even aware the Navy has planes. So in the previous thing, you went headlong into naval aviation. So I said, we need to build it into a story. So in the sense, when did flight start? What did Leonardo da Vinci do? What did Orwell and Wilbur Wright do? Then what are the main epic events which happened in the last century as far as flying is concerned. So we slowly introduce the visitor to what flying is all about, and then we take them into the specifics of Indian naval aviation. So I think to a large extent we've succeeded in doing that with my team. The Naval Aircraft Yard, they are the guys who actually, Commodore Raja Vinod and Captain Ravi, and the other guys who actually, and Commander Manmohan and his team, we were able to achieve this to a large extent. So I think we've been quite successful. And like I mentioned, I'm hoping that more and more children come here. And we want to open up the museum for school children every month, free of charge. Like, as it is, children pay only half the ticket cost.
Group of 50.
Group of 50 we can, because of the size. So we can take a group of 50 every month, free of charge, and personally take them around. We'll assign an officer or a sailor to explain all the things in an easy way which they can understand. We'll screen a couple of movies for them and provide them lunch, everything free of charge. And I think that would make a lot of difference. And many times as a child you see something, and then that kind of encourages you to take that up as a profession later. So that's what not mine, I mean it's a collective thing. I'm just one of the people. All of us wanted to achieve that, and I think to a large extent we've been able to do that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.